Now, with updates, one is from the Gambia Armed Forces. The Gambia Armed Forces has dismissed 7 personnel with immediate effect for conduct prejudicial to good order and discipline in violation of Section 78(1) of the GAF Act 1985. Now, this follows an internal investigation into breaches of military discipline linked to the unauthorized use of speedboats and a yacht comprising national security. So the investigations were led by military intelligence and security agencies, and they revealed coordinated misconduct, including unauthorized vessel launches, incriminating communications data, movement coordination, material rewards, and compromised operational duties. The dismissed personnel were linked to the clandestine network operating under Ultima Seaport Limited. And I don't want to go into the names. This was a press release by the Gambia Armed Forces. And those who are interested in this story fora, they can read the press release to see the names of those who are involved.
I even have some, some questions, but we'll keep that for them.
Exactly. But according to the armed forces, their actions violated military ethics and posed a risk to operational security. Now, GAF reaffirmed its zero tolerance policy on misconduct and remains committed to discipline, professionalism, and public trust. Now, this shows how far we've gone with our security sector reforms, and we commend the GAF for taking swift action in ensuring that all actions that are a misconduct or that are a breach of the procedures of GAF.
So they didn't violate any law, because I mean they didn't violate any law. If they violate any law, one would expect they'll be dismissed and also prosecuted.
Yes, but I'm not sure.
Law violation. But anyway,
in
as
terms
I
of
said,
the law, yes. So GAF can be for us. This is the GAF press release, and I think it's important for the public to know. Now, the second one is the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. It's a travel advisory from the Gambian Embassy in Washington, D.C. And it's important that Gambians take note of this, that Gambian citizens in the U.S. and prospective travelers to the U.S. are ought to strictly follow U.S. immigration rules. Now, they must know that a visa allows travel to a U.S. port of entry. However, the length of the stay is determined by the border officials. Now, students must maintain enrollment to or risk visa revocation, and compliance is essential to avoid immigration issues. I think this is important for governments to take note that every country has their visa and their immigration rules, and I think it's important that people really adhere to these immigration rules, particularly in the U.S. now. They are very serious about this, so that when you are in the U.S., make sure you regularize your stay and don't do anything that will be a breach of your visa condition.
All right.
This other one is from the Ministry of Justice and the Attorney General's chambers. It's a press release which states that U.S. conviction of former death squad operative Michael Correa. Now, the Ministry of Justice welcomes this landmark sentencing of Michael Correa by the U.S. District Court in Colorado, marking a major step in securing justice for victims of human rights violations under the former regime. Judge Christine M. Arguello sentenced Correa to 135 months per count to run consecutively, totaling 67.5 years.
Yeah,
this historic judgment reinforces the global commitment to accountability and justice for victims of atrocity crimes. Now, this augurs well for Gambia's transitional justice, that those who have been adversely mentioned or those who have been found wanting of violating gross human rights violations under Yahya Jammeh's regime are found wanting, and that victims have justice. So this is part of it, that Michael Correa has been sentenced to 67.5 years in prison.
So how did the Gambia government work in partnership with their U.S. counterparts towards ensuring that they've got to this stage, because there needs to be cooperation.
Of course, because for them to get conviction, they need evidence, and most of those evidences were in the Gambia. So they work together with the Ministry of Justice very closely to make sure that witness testimonies are provided, evidences are provided. So I think it was a collaboration. Now, under international law, some crimes have what they call universal jurisdiction. It means that if they are committed in one territory, they can be tried in any territory under I think it's on the Geneva Convention. Don't get me right on that, but that's what I would assume. But some of these crimes, like crimes against humanity, torture, war crimes, they are what they call they have universal jurisdiction, and you cannot escape it. We still have people who committed such crimes in Rwanda 25, 30 years ago. They are still being hunted and tried in most European countries. Remember, even Hissène Habré was tried in Senegal for crimes he committed in Chad. So gone are the days when you can use sovereignty or to evade certain crimes. So they'll find you and you'll be tried and there'll be justice. And I think this is part of the good things about international law, but also some of these new legal regimes which provide for international jurisdiction so that nobody can commit a crime in one particular country and think that because the crime was committed there, you wouldn't be tried. No, you can be tried anywhere in the world as long as that particular law can be invoked, which is universal jurisdiction.